Welcome to Dukascopy TV with me, Alex Izat. The service's PMI figures rose at its fastest rate since November 2013, reviving speculation over whether the Bank of England will raise interest rates before the end of the year. Joining us from Investec, London, is economist Victoria Clarke. Victoria, do you think the Bank of England will raise interest rates due to these recent positive figures?
Well, it adds to the set of indicators that suggest that economic slack is falling fast, and that appears to provide a further green light to tightening in late 2014, which has been getting increasing momentum behind it of late. The key releases for rate hike momentum, we would say, though, are those on the jobs front, and particularly the Bank of England's been looking at the improvement on the employment side and the sharp drop in the unemployment rate. And it's interesting to see that hours work has also stepped up very sharply. So when you look at all of those together, but particularly those on the labour market side, it does look as if the economic backdrop is pointing towards tighter rates before too long.
Are these figures in contrast to other data, which points to a slight slowdown in British growth?
There have been patches of softness, yes. I mean, certainly the manufacturing PMI for July was particularly soft against expectations, albeit still well into expansionary territory. And we have had a couple of soft figures on the construction side and official manufacturing figures, but in general the momentum is still there for the recovery, and H2, the second half of the year, may not be quite as strong, but the economic backdrop in the UK is particularly robust, and particularly so from those things that the Bank of England's looking at, i.e. spare capacity and the jobs picture.
Is Mark Carney likely to surprise with his quarterly update next week?
Yeah, we think he will do. One of the things we're keeping a close eye on is their increased focus on the wages front, and the key thing here is that wage growth has been very, very subdued despite the pickup that we've seen on the jobs front. And we wouldn't be surprised if next week we see another rewrite of the guidance, which means that they add in an element which puts more emphasis on subdued wages and the fact that they think that that could keep inflation contained for longer. So that could see some of those expectations that we've seen built on those better macroeconomic numbers edge back, and potentially even expectations of when the first hike in rates could come move back into 2015 and potentially even after the May 2015 election.
Do you think there may be dissidents within the MPC membership which could affect economic recovery?
It's certainly possible this time. We've seen members even back in June talking about the decision on when to raise rates becoming more balanced. But it will very much depend as to whether the committee decides to tweak its forward guidance. If it decides to put more focus on wages, then that could dampen some of those arguments from some corners of the committee for an early hike, and it could see, but we may see one or two members pushing for that, but I wouldn't have thought that there's a close run race this time around, and that would be saved for later in the year.
Thank you for your time, Victoria. Keep watching Dukascopy TV for more news on the UK economy and the market as a whole. Until then, goodbye.